About Quan Chi cameos, because I think there are quite a few that can do some interesting things with Quan Chi, and this time we're talking about Scorpion. And Scorpion's kind of interesting because he does some strengths that were similar to the other cameos we've talked about, but his strengths are different to what he is normally strong at. Normally, Scorpion is just picked to get a bunch of flame breath, crazy combos, stuff like that, particularly with characters like Rain or stuff who don't have particularly exciting combos otherwise. But that's actually not a big part of how I think Quan Chi is going to use him. Mainly because a lot of his strings and stuff just go to straight splats, where you literally cannot get an airborne cameo like Scorpion to connect at all, even despite having a really good ambush effect. Even after this like big tentacle launcher, there's like no timing where you can usefully get anything off of that. So where his strengths come in is from the pullback in some ways, of course, you know, he's a zoner, so if I want to do like a down 4 and then pull myself to get away or something like this, I just want to get away from the opponent, maybe they blocked that string. I tried to footsie in and I realized, oh, they're blocking that, never mind, let's just run away and zone. That is obviously just a simple thing that's very good. You can also use it on Wake Up just to get away. It has armor. You can even use it after your pokes as a way of just getting away from the opponent. Even though your pokes are minus, if they do try to counter poke you, well, you're just gonna armor and flail away from them. So it is a good way of making his weakness of crappy pokes slightly better. And of course, just as a zoning guy, an armored retreat is always gonna be good. But what's particularly useful about Scorpion right now is this overhead. And it just got buffed a lot, if you're not aware. Where it used to be punishable, now it's only -2. So now we have this overhead that leads to combos, is completely safe, and we can just throw out basically whenever we want. And Quan Chi already has a little bit of a mix-up toolkit. It's got a bunch of overheads already, also quite a few lows in the middle of strings. He's got that one there, he's got a standing low here, and most importantly, he's got a low special move. But this one is unsafe. So now you've got this interesting mind game where basically off of anything you do, any button, even your standing 4, you can always be going for this Scorpion overhead and just have the opponent conditioned to always be fishing for this overhead because you go for it so often. You get a combo into a nice setup or whatever, throw out some weird zoning shit and get a cool combo. You can just do this all the time because even if they block it, yeah, if they are really expecting it, they can mash out of it, but after a lot of things, like, I don't know, randomly after this, or even just after the overhead, doing a double overhead, even just like after this string, whoops, or after this, where you can go for the low here, which is safe. You can also go for an overhead. There's just so many times, so many strings, you can always just go into the overhead, and once the opponent is respecting that you're spamming this Scorpion overhead a little bit too much for my liking, well, that's when you can switch it up and go for his low. And keep in mind, this low is unsafe and expensive, so you're not going to be wanting to use it too often and only really use it when you think it's actually going to connect with the opponent. But the fact that you can be throwing out these overheads all the time means that when you do throw out this low, it's very likely to connect. And you can get some kind of damaging Quan Chi combo. This is probably one of his most damaging combo starters because it doesn't scale that badly at all, but I'm not quite sure what is optimal yet. Even something simple like that does a ton of damage. Or you can go for a little bit less damaging setup. And when I say tons of damage, I mean by Quan Chi's standards, because he seems to be a relatively low damage character across the board. But yeah, getting a consistent 30% from any time he goes for a low, or just easily getting some kind of combo off of every time you go for this overhead, which once again can be very frequent, can be off of this, and you can get this from like about round start distance. You can go standing 4 and this overhead will still connect and you get a full combo. It is just pretty versatile as to when you can land this thing. It's very cool, and now we can just spam it as much as we like because it's completely safe, completely without risk, and an overhead's an overhead. It's gonna catch people. And then, I guess, just to finish off, when it comes to Flame Breath, like I mentioned, unfortunately there's not too many ways you can actually get it in a useful way, except for, of course, off of down 2s, but unfortunately the gravity is so bad that you can't really get any of his juicy extensions. You can only really do one of his extensions, so like you can do the aerial juggle, but then you can't get the overhead spike. I think the most damaging thing you can do is go for the launcher into that and get something off of this. Something that like that seems like the best option he can go for there. So yeah, he can get combos from the ambush, and maybe we'll find things later. Like, he can certainly extend things. Here's another example. So yeah, that does add a decent amount of extra damage, but compared to what we're used to seeing with Scorpion combos with other characters, it's nothing too thrilling or exciting. But it certainly can be done, and maybe as we lab a little bit more, we'll find some more interesting stuff we can do. And why does all the blood appear as squares on the PC version of the game? I've been trying so hard to optimize this game to work okay on my PC, and it does not seem to be going well. I don't know why this is here, but yeah, I think that's about all there is to say about Quan Chi's Scorpion. You've got this overhead you can spam as much as you like. Being able to retreat at any time is of course a big strength to his owner, and just basically spam those as much as you want, because you're not going to need to save much meter for your Flame Breath combos. So not really something you can rely on, although they do exist. Radio, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, bye!